Good morning, everyone. Got my astronaut breakfast going here, and the goal for today is to head back to the canyon where I was yesterday. I found this really beautiful scene with this dead manzanita bush that's sort of cradling and surrounding this young cactus. And manzanita, when it's alive, has this brilliant red bark to it. And when it dies, it goes, it's bleached by the sun and goes really pale white. And so the branches are just arranged really nicely around this cactus, and I think it really tells a story of, new life coming from, a bush that has died and is giving its nutrients back to the earth. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there and finding a composition on it. But it's quite a ways back there. It's going to be quite a scramble, which makes me a little uneasy with the 8x10 just because it's a lot of weight to carry around back there. But I did it the other day, so it wasn't too bad. But I'm not going to head back there until there's enough light in the sky, because this is where mountain lions live. And when I was there yesterday, I found the remains of 2 bighorn sheep. And mountain lions, they like to hunt in sort of dawn and dusk. That's their prime time. So I prefer not to place myself in a situation where they're out hunting and I'm just walking around looking like a big chicken McNugget. So yeah, if they can take down a bighorn sheep, I'm nothing to them. So but I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast, spend a little more time until the sun comes up, and then head in there and see if I can get composition on that scene. And I'm really looking forward to it. Well, I'm about 90% of the way to the manzanita I really wanted to photograph, but the light is not great. I noticed that the sunrise was a little weird this morning, and there's a big layer of smoke down to the south, and you get this really milky sky, and then that sort of pale, bland light just fills all the shadows. So reflected light doesn't work at all, really, when you have the milky skies. So it's blue sky one way, then it's smoke the other way. And my window for opportunity for good light's kind of going away. So I'm thinking I might save this photo for maybe later on the trip, or maybe even another year if I'm not able to make it back here. But also my boot's falling apart a little bit, so that's not great. But a lot of energy to get out here. But if the light's not great, you can have a fantastic subject and a fantastic composition, but if you don't have great light, the photo just isn't going to be what it really could be. So I think the smart move is to save this for another day. So after I returned from the hike this morning, I went back to my truck, made myself some lunch, and saw that the area where I was parked, there was a fair amount of litter around, so it's been about a half hour or so cleaning it up. And it's different from past years. Past years it was mostly like candy wrappers and maybe bags of chips, stuff like that may have gotten away from people in the wind. But this year, it was almost completely toilet paper. Absolutely disgusting. I was able to get that cleaned up, then drove back to my campsite. And when I was down there, I was checking the weather, because I was curious what was going on with these skies here. And I see that this is smoke from the wildfires in California. There's this thin little band that has reached Zion. And even though it's not a lot of smoke at all, it's just a very, very thin layer, it absolutely kills the reflected light. So that's why the light was so weird this morning. So it really doesn't take much, because it just reflects so much more just blah, neutral kind of light down into the canyons here, as opposed to have that nice contrast of the light bouncing off the cliffs and then the blue light from the sky. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I really, really like that scene with the manzanita. So I'm really hoping I'll be able to shoot that. But here's the thing. So today is Thursday. On Monday, it's going to be basically winter. Today it's almost 80 degrees Fahrenheit. On Monday it's going to be a high of 46 degrees Fahrenheit with a low in the low 20s and a chance of snow. So I think that'll really speed along the fall color. But even as I'm walking through here, this maple behind me, this was green just the other day. Now it's got some really beautiful color. It's also been a little bit windy today, so I'm just kind of taking it easy, exploring a little bit, relaxing. But I really do want to head back and get that photo of the manzanita. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. It's got to be a day with blue skies, no smoke, no clouds. It's a heck of a hike to get in there. There's about 10,000 steps getting out there and back. So you can keep on wandering here and see if anything else catches my eye. But I'm just loving taking a little stroll through the wash here. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience so far on the trip. When I first got here, I gotta say, it was pretty tough. When it's that crowded and there's so many people out, I guess there was a school holiday, a 4-day weekend, and that's why it was so busy. But it's just so hard to concentrate because I have to be in a certain mindset in order to shoot photos, and I just could not get into that mindset. And I was able to find some subjects, which was great. But the experience wasn't what I was really hoping for. And I really suspected that leading into this trip that it would probably be along those lines, just based on the pandemic and also stories I'd heard about just, how busy it was here. But now things are starting to quiet down a little bit, kind of getting back into that zone that I'm accustomed to, where I can just go out and explore and listen to the sound of the wind going through the pine needles or rustling the leaves of the maples. And I found myself drawn on this trip to subjects other than the fall color. Pine trees, cactus, manzanita, stuff like that. And in that sort of thing, I think those photos sometimes tell a story better than, just a nice colorful tree. Don't get me wrong, I love me some colorful maples like those behind me. But the photos I think that have the lasting appeal are the ones that have a bit more of a story to tell. Now I'm really enjoying this. Just going out for a little wander, soaking in the sights and the sounds, and contemplating what I'm going to do for tomorrow. But I'm really hoping to get that manzanita shot. We'll see what happens. I returned to that canyon with a manzanita bush the next morning, crafted a composition, and exposed several sheets of film. Despite my best efforts, the light wasn't as good as I had hoped. I suspect it's even better in the late afternoon, but that'll have to wait for another year. I remained in Zion for several more days, but mostly left my view camera behind. Truth be told, I pushed myself too hard at the beginning of this trip, and in my best efforts to venture away from the crowds and to find new subjects. My body was tired and my muscles were depleted. The conditions continued to improve as the crowds began to thin, but I lacked the same energy I had at the beginning of the trip. I covered a lot of ground on those last several days, exploring new side canyons and searching for subjects to photograph on my next visit. This is an important part of my process, and it's how I knew to photograph that wonderful pine tree at the start of this year's trip. Looking back at that day, I now realize how fortunate I was to have such ideal conditions. These are the moments I strive for as a photographer, the moments when the world around me grows quiet and I can focus on the task at hand. The truth is that these trips are very hard work. It can be difficult at times, but I've learned to trust in this process, and although hard work doesn't guarantee success, it does lead to greater satisfaction with one's work. Before heading to Zion this year, I heard stories of crowds, litter, and vandalism. And although I knew this would have an impact on my visit, I was truly shocked by the extent of the damage. we can do better than this. We all have an impact on the locations we visit, but we should strive to make it positive by leaving a location better than we found it. These lands are preserved for a reason, and there's so much to learn if we simply take a moment to listen. Sometimes it's as simple as slowing down, being more observant about our surroundings, and learning to embrace the very imperfections that makes our work genuine. I didn't get as many photos as I had hoped on this year's trip, but I think I did pretty well, and I picked up a few things along the way. I'm happy to say I finally found that reassuring sense of calm I love so much about Zion. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you around next time. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution of just $24 a year helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. For more information on how to support me and my work, please visit the donation section of my website at benhorn.com/donate. I also have prints in my portfolio box set available on my website. You can find a direct link down below in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support.